The Bengals offense very much struggled against the Giants last week. But what if I told you something's been trending in the wrong direction for a few weeks now, and it could lead to even more trouble against the Browns? In this video, we're going to break down the numbers and figure out what the cause of it has been before the Bengals try and get their first AFC North win on Sunday. What's up, Bengals fans? John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and just when it felt like the Bengals offense was firing on all cylinders, they ran into a brick wall on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, and I mean that quite literally. Outside of Chase Brown's 30-yard touchdown run at the very end of the game, the Bengals' run game was pretty much inept the entire night. Only 5 other teams this week had a lower success rate running the ball, and only the Broncos and Raiders had a lower EPA per rush. This doesn't count Joe Burrow's 47-yard scramble because that was technically a dropback that he turned into a run. On design runs, the Bengals were simply inept. Now, you can attribute this to a matchup problem. The Giants are really talented up front, and they played a really solid game in the trenches, but this has been an ongoing problem for the last 3 weeks now. Going back to week 4, when the Bengals beat the Carolina Panthers for their first win of the season, the Bengals are 27th in the league in EPA per rush and 30th in success rate. Compare that to the first 3 weeks of the season when they were 0-3. They were the second best team in terms of EPA per rush and 3rd in success rate. The Bengals are 2-1 in their last 3 games, and they are one of the worst teams at running the football compared to when they were 0-3 out of the gate, and they were one of the best teams at running the football. Sounds counterintuitive, but it's 100% true. Now, the variables at play here are very simple. There are the running backs, the offensive line, and the defensive lines that they have to go up against. And all 3 have a part to play here. Starting with Zach Moss at running back, he has seen mighty regression in the last 3 weeks alone. He started the season very well, averaging 4.1 yards per carry and 2.79 yards after contact per attempt, but those numbers have dropped, respectively, to 2.9 and 1.67. His volume hasn't really changed. He's still gaining about the same number of carries per game, but he's doing significantly less with them. Now, compare that to Chase Brown, who's seen a lot more volume in this offense, and his efficiency was extremely high in the very limited carries that he had in the first 3 weeks. So it's not as high as like his 7 yards per carry that he had in the first 3 weeks, but still averaging nearly 5 yards per carry, breaking a lot of runs over 10 yards and making guys miss. He's been a net positive for this run game for sure. But Zach Moss, on the other hand, they need him to get back to where he was in the beginning of the season. Now, what about the blocking up front? How has that changed? Well, obviously, Trent Brown went down in week 3 with a season-ending injury, and you had a rookie and Amarius Mims fill in for him at right tackle for the past 3 weeks. And Amarius Mims has not been the same caliber of run blocker as Trent Brown was in the first 3 weeks. And that's been the major change here in terms of run blocking grades for this unit. Orlando Brown Jr. has also kind of seen a little bit of a downturn in his run blocking grade over the past 3 weeks, but I feel like there's more confidence in him figuring out and trying to get it a little bit stable. But for Amarius Mims, as promising as he's been in pass protection, run blocking was kind of his weakness at Georgia. He wasn't as dominant as he should have been for someone that size, and that may continue to be a problem for him as he continues to hone his game. And finally, is this just a product of playing the Ravens and Giants in back-to-back weeks? The Ravens are arguably the best run defense in the league. They're 4th in EPA per rush allowed and 1st in success rate, and the Giants are also a top 10 team in terms of EPA per rush allowed as well. Both defenses make you earn every yard that you gain on the ground, and I think going up against them in back-to-back weeks really set this Bengals run game back a little bit. But I also think that they're smart enough to kind of hone in on what the Bengals have been trying to do in the run game with Eric Gall as the lead blocker and an H-back and Chase Brown sweeps to the outside. I feel like those specific plays have not been gaining a lot of success because the Bengals need to switch it up a little bit more. They need to be more diverse in their ground attack. And when defenses have a good scouting report on you and they're really talented up front, they can make it really tough for you. This is what makes this week's matchup against the Browns very interesting to me because in terms of EPA per rush and success rate, they're very much middle of the pack. They're 19th in both through 6 weeks thus far. But that shouldn't take away how talented they are up front. Obviously, Myles Garrett is a beast. JOK is one of the best run defending linebackers of the game. Dalvin Tomlinson is still good at what he does at nose tackle. Like, they got some guys who can stop you, but the overall results have not matched the talent up front. So this is a good opportunity for the Bengals run game to get back on track and try some new things. And we all know the Browns can rush the passer. And without a solid run game to kind of balance things out, it's going to be tough if the Bengals have to try to drop back 50 times in this one and try to beat the Browns that way. Getting the run game back to the efficiency level that it was in the first 3 weeks of the season is very imperative if this Bengals offense wants to now match what the defense did last week.